here, and the Akali left open. I really want them to full pick, but no, they're gonna go towards the Corki. It's technically a flex. They could put that towards top side.
Well, they could still put the Corki, the Akali top lane, right? It's playable top lane, especially with the tanky build holds its own quite well. But BLG, you're going to prioritize Doggo here. I think they'll probably just lock this Jhin in, right? We talked about the sort of higher tier AD carry picks. There is still Ziggs, which is quite popular. But the thing is with the Corki, probably less willing to go for a Ziggs because you become very AP heavy. But we will see. Either way, Jhin taken. And then for BLG, you know, junglers, plentiful are an option here. If you want priority on like Zhao or something, Lee Sin is an option. Thresh is available as a priority, but I feel like you don't need to commit too heavily to anything right now. And I think Zhao for me stands out as the one I'd go for.
Yeah, I think that's the big one that's going to be picked up here now for BLG. We do see, as I said, the AD carries banned away, so you're going to go lean towards that Jhin that's picked up there alongside the Zhao. So we know that Doggo is going to be on the Jhin again. WeiWei back onto the Zhao. Very, very common jungler here. I think you might see, actually, funny enough, the Lee Sin has not been banned yet. So very curious to see if they do see Aki going towards that or if he favors the Viego into this particular matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably want to take your AD carry and your jungler on this rotation for OMG, because otherwise the pool might get thin quite heavily. Looks like Ezreal might be the pickup here. We haven't seen too much Ezreal this season overall, but it makes sense to take it now before the pool gets thin more. And then you could take Thresh here, you could take junglers here. You know, I feel like BLG probably will ban out like Viego, Lee Sin if you don't pick your jungler here, but you could be okay with that. You could have alternatives. We'll see what OMG opt for. I think ultimately Thresh probably not the biggest concern when you have an Ezreal. It looks like they might be looking towards the Gragas, which unfortunately probably means we're not getting a Akali top lane.
Probably not getting ourselves an Akali top lane. So the Gragas and the Ezreal locked in here for OMG. See what BLG want to go for. I do like the Gragas. Again, we saw in our last series, very flexible with Rich. He was able to go the tank build one game, and then obviously the AP build the next. So has a lot of options available to him. And it looks like FoFo going to take the Viktor into this matchup. This is kind of the new Corki Azir. Corki Viktor is the new matchup you go for. Both very safe. Both kind of mitigate each other and have opportunities to affect the rest of the lanes in their own ways.
Yeah, later on, Corki has the powerful package for objectives and the long-range poke. But Viktor is able to contest Prio a bit earlier when he gets his laser evolved particularly, and can even threaten Corki. We've seen a solo kill or two between the matchup, with Viktor being the one favored. But I think BLG, you ban away junglers. The Gragas could in theory be in the jungle, but we only really see him top at the moment. So I would probably just go like, and they're going for the Olaf, but Lee Sin, Viego are still two that are open and available. For OMG, you know, you could look towards support role. You could look top if you want to take away like Gwen is something that is obviously quite popular and prominent and strong in the top lane. And they will ban that one away. See what BLG opt to go. I expect it's going to be a second jungle ban, but they could also go in the direction of something like Rakan or even Yuumi if you're really concerned about that pairing with the Ezreal.
They've got some options they can go with. They have banned away the Olaf, so again, looking to try and ban away those jungle picks. Again, Lee Sin not being banned, something that's known throughout the world as a pretty standard jungle pick. If you want to play jungle, you got to play Lee Sin. But no, like you said, they go for the Yuumi. They have your comms set up, ready to go for the draft there, Ox, and they know exactly where they want to go. Again, the Catboy, one of the OG pairings in that bot side. Very safe, very frustrating. I won't lie, I'm very happy to see the Yuumi banned.
I think as well, if you're going to pick support on this fourth pick, right? So, you know, Leona would have been a great one, but it's been taken away. But if you're picking support here, then obviously you wouldn't want to be able to pick Yuumi in response to it. But to be honest, you could probably just take top. It's probably a Gragas top lane, right? It could be flex, jungle, or support. I would assume it's top, but I think BLG might be deliberating. Is there a risk of it being flexed? And I think the safer thing might just be take a support pick for yourself. Then you know for sure you're probably going to know what your top lane matchup is. They go for the Karma, a really strong lane for the Jhin. And this is kind of surprising because we don't see much Karma in the LPL this season. It's very popular in Korea, incredibly so. An Enchanter who has a lot of lane presence. So this is going to be a bit problematic because they will have a lot of priority bot. They will really punish Able and Cold.
They will be very able to punish Cold and Able. I'm going to have to figure out a different world. Every single time I cast OMG, I always have to figure out a different word in terms of the facilitating of that particular champion or a particular name. And again, we're looking towards what they want to go for. The Talon locked and loaded there, so they got a little bit more pick potential. And this does feel like a run and gun style of composition from OMG. Use the Ezreal and the Corki for poke, and then try and just pick people off with this Talon on the backside. The Karma, though, will do a lot to mitigate this, and the Graves very safe in that top side.
Yeah, and I think for me, BLG have an advantage in terms of prio, right? Bot lane is going to shove in excessively. Mid lane should be able to find prio, especially when Viktor gets his laser upgrade. Top lane, Graves easily shoves waves. It doesn't set up the ideal circumstance for a Talon to run away with the game, right? He wants to be invading. He wants support from his team. That being said, in the later stages, they're going to struggle to get on the Corki and the Ezreal, right? They are very mobile, very hard to pin down. And essentially BLG's response to that is just run at them, right? Pop the curtain call, run at them with karma shields, hope that they stay still long enough to pin them down. So I feel like there's definitely a window where they tempt us with it, but either way, we're still seeing some things that are interesting to talk about. Ezreal, we haven't seen much, but I really love just the bot lane dynamic, and I really want to see what OMG do to break it, because I think if you leave it alone, it's going to have a bad time.
Gonna have a bad time, but we are on to the rift for game 1 of this best of 3. OMG still yet to have their nexus popped in this entire season. 3-0, 6-0. As BLG set themselves up now around this blue buff, there is a little bit of a cheese play coming out from OMG. Not going to be falling for it just yet, though, is the side of BLG. They fan out. They say, look, we're safe. We don't need to check any of these bushes. We just need to make sure that we get our camp started the way we want to.
This is a smart strategy, right? You can't TP behind them, so start bot and then TP back top lane, right? This is a strategy from Shanji. If they find the hook on a Doggo, he is just dead. I think he might be able to flash out afterwards, but bare minimum, it's going to be a lot of pain.
They're going to go for it. They're not even going to go. They're actually going to go for a full level 1 with Shanji. They're going to jump straight in. There is the belly bop down. They're going to burn pretty much all the summoners. The minion, though, is just... Oh, and that's actually a bit of a bad play right now for OMG. They will lose their TP. It's creative, but at the same time, it doesn't get the result they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking of, right? You need a creative way to sort of break the lane dynamic where Crisp and Doggo are just going to have the advantage. That failed, though. The critical thing, right, is Cold flashed in for the root, but then he didn't move to make sure he had a clear line for the dredge line to connect. And as a result, it didn't really change things. Karma Mantra Q just does a ton of damage in return. So I expect now Doggo and Chris will be able to take control of the lane. They are down in summoners, but it's only marginal.
It is only marginal. And that's not really the big impact you want after committing your flash from Shanji. And honestly,
at minimum, as well.
Yeah, TP. The TP is not that big of a deal, but let's have a look at the replay here, because again, the auto attack from Cold just sadly gets them a little bit too far forward, or too far away, I should say, and they don't really lock down Doggo. It's just a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, so I mean, they could have maybe got more there. It's just like you auto Crisp, and that's fine, but he just took so long to start walking over, and I think the slow from Crisp didn't help, and then the minion ends up blocking it. Just a little bit of a misplay, ultimately ends up backfiring, but you know, I still respect the initiative.
Again, good creative start here for OMG. It's not really going to mean that big of a difference in top side. Yes, he loses Shanji's flash, but he's there to mitigate the pressure that is going to be breathed on this Graves. Actually going with the Ghost instead of the flash up in that top side, so going to be a little bit more sticking power available for the Graves in these later game team fights, especially if he's able to catch people out with that smoke screen. And now WeiWei can maybe return the favor in this bot lane.
Yeah, I kind of like it because we often see like a sustained damage build from Graves, right? And one of the biggest issues he has is sticking to a target for extended time to just shred through them, especially like a Gragas, you can, you know, body slam away. So I like the fact he has the Ghost to sort of just done that, and he is going to be able to secure this. Scuttle was a little bit close.
Just about.
He's able to deny that one. Graves obviously very good at doing that. I think, yeah, his autos just knock the shield off instantly because of the little knockback that's involved.
It's technically a CC. It is technically a CC onto minions. So we see Shanji at least trying to go toe-to-toe with Breathe. Both these top laners still very safe in their respective parts, not really losing anything in that particular trade. Aki, though, will maybe look to try and make a bit of an aggressive move now onto this top side. Will recognize that the Scuttle has been taken on both sides of the map, and now maybe recognizing that Wei, yep, he'll know it now. Wei is here. So he does not want anything else to do with this. He's going to back up, keep himself out of vision, and keep himself nice and safe. They should know that WeiWei is up this top side, so Shanji should not go too far forward. As I say that, though, he is posturing very aggressively.
I mean, the minion's going to push in. There's no reason you need to step up here, Shanji. Just let it shove into you and you'll be fine. I like actually that play from Aki to look aggressive there. The reason it was a good one is because Breathe had gone for the Scuttle, right? So because he'd spent time in a lane, he wasn't shoving, it had bounced back. And on top of that, FoFo had no mana because he hadn't reset yet. So everything lined up to that be a window where Aki could go aggressive. He didn't find anything, but I like that he's reading for these opportunities.
Would you like any swords? I love this. So look at the symmetry down in the left-hand side of the item box. Just like sword, sword, sword. 2 tiers as well. So I like it. It's nice. It's nice to look at.
Yeah, it's almost like they're going to have some synchronized power spikes coming out from those two.
What are you talking about? You're crazy. You're just absolutely crazy. But come back into this game as well. The Corki has been something that has been, of recent date, banned quite a lot. It does have a disgusting amount of damage once it does hit that 2-item spike, and even the 3-item gets even worse. The later the game goes on, you cannot just rely on something like a Viktor or hell even a Jhin to be able to burst people out. The Corki has so much available in its tool set that it's going to be a little bit difficult here for BLG. I'm curious to see where their strategy goes, where they look to focus, as both sides now just happening. And again, look, like I said, it was unfortunate they didn't get all they wanted out of bot side. Pretty much all summoners are back after that play, including Shanji's flash. So that level 1 was creative, didn't lead to anything, but we come back into the game, and it's basically even Stevens across the board, apart from top.
It's been going fine, honestly. I mean, they are a little bit behind in farm in the bot lane, about 5 sets or so, but that's not a big deal, right? You pick this Jhin Karma because you really want to bully, but I think they had to pay some respect towards this Nautilus, and as a result, haven't been able to push advantage as much as they maybe want. But the big thing is, if they want to find prio, they can at a moment's notice, and we'll put a bit of pressure down on Abel there. Has to Arcane shift away.
We'll have to just respect it. Again, very difficult to land any real hard CC here onto Abel. It's kind of reliant on him misplaying pretty significantly as Aki does the Talon thing, gets over walls, gets into enemy camps, and steals away enemy Krugs. And that is basically how he wants this one to go. They may look for something in this top side. Flash Body Slam is available. Breed did, however, get to go back, so he has a High Noon Quiver available to him. WeiWei is going to walk in and realize that his Krugs are currently being taken, and he's going to walk away.
You can do nothing.
Parkour!
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
I mean, that's the frustrating thing with Talon, right? Is that he just hops over a wall and is gone. There's so little that BLG can do, and I think that's one of the things is that there isn't really any instant hard CC from BLG, right? You know, you have to stack up your knockup for Zhao. You have to stack up the stun from FoFo. You also, for Karma, you have to like wait for the tether to connect, and as a result, I think Aki is going to be incredibly hard to pin down in this game. It's basically really going to come down to them bursting him rather than ever landing some CC.
And that's the big thing that we got to talk about. You know, Aki is going to be that backline threat that Doggo won't be able to set up if he's in a position for the Talon to jump on top of him. As soon as he pops his curtain call, he will have to back away. He will have to keep himself at a safe distance because he's going to be so far disconnected from the rest of the team as you want to be. And as I talk about the curtain call, there's the heal coming out from Abel. Going to actually tank up 2 shots. Third one going to be hit by Cold. And then the fourth one as well. We wait for an absolute eternity. Cold will take that for his thing. So Doggo 4 for 4 on all of his 4 shots on the ult.
And it's just enough to poke them out, right? And because he waited so long, Abel essentially just got zoned away for more farm. Now, WeiWei's actually looking for this.
He's looking for it, but I don't think he wants it right now. Use the Crescent guard, forces the flash out of Aki, flashes in himself, had the knockup primed, but wasn't able to get the auto attack in.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is the Talon's bursty, but in the extended fight, when you start getting the knockup, WeiWei felt confident, right? But wasn't able to find it there. Ended up just being a trade of ultimate and summoners. But I think we saw from bot in that play before how the momentum is starting to go in favor of Doggo and Crisp, right? When you get a few points into your queue, your poke is a lot more significant as a Karma. Now, OMG are moving straight over to that Herald, and Cold is already on the way, so I think they should just be able to pick this one up easily. It is a package available and ready for it. So yeah, I think BLG probably is going to look towards the Dragon, if anything.
Yeah, and again, this is why you pick something like the Gragas. Very safe to walk over, tank this up with your Talon, and you're able to keep yourself in a very nice situation. So, package available here. We'll see how annoyed you get as the game goes on. If Creme joins the naughty list of Ox and Corki packages. But for the moment, they are still setting themselves up nicely around this Dragon Pit. You can see already Creme cheating down towards this bottom side, recognizing that he has an opportunity here as BLG tried to get that cooldown off of him. We will have Talon down this bot side, and honestly, right now, if OMG wanted to go for something, they could. Sadly, Creme just hasn't got the time left on the package, and he ends up having to use it just to get back into lane.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. You get the first package for the first Herald, which is obviously quite valuable. And then it just make sure it syncs up later, or I will be very, very frustrated. But either way, you know, nothing too massive gain on either side, but we've got to see where Aki can look to utilize this Herald. This is Shanji actually putting a lot of pressure down on Breathe.
Doing well in this matchup, and again, the Gragas is, you know, not a big damage threat, but with the grasp, when the amount of sustain you have, it is going to be difficult if Breathe gets caught out. And actually, Ghost was burnt by Breathe there, so doesn't have that little extra summoner. A big win, in my opinion, for Shanji.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing with Ghost. It's shorter cooldown, right? But still, it's an advantage gained. And I think Shanji has been pressing the advantage in a matchup where typically we see quite a lot of inactivity. We do see BLG setting up to apply some more pressure on the bot lane here. But ultimately, kind of hard to do anything without a wave. And right now, we see on the other side of the map, OMG looking to potentially go for the Breathe, right? No flash on a tower. This should be an easy kill.
Yeah.
I think Abel needs to back off, but this should be Breathe dead.
Yep, this is Breathe almost certainly dead. They will not land the ult, or assuming the dredge line, but it doesn't matter. They got the ultimate, they got the burst. First blood going over to OMG. Nice proactive play in the early side. They will trade it off for the dragon in the bot side, but again, great proactive moves here from the side of OMG.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a trade-up for OMG because they have the Herald, right? There is going to be some plates taken on the bot side by BLG, so they're probably fine with this trade, right? You get a dragon, you get some plates, but OMG definitely going to pull ahead in terms of gold by a decent margin here.
Good acceleration and goal. I will say, though, Crisp and Doggo, with the dominant lane that is the Karma and the Jhin, are taking a lot of solo plates themselves, so not to be outdone just yet. Good true shot barrage onto Crisp, puts him down to below half HP, and they have to get themselves backed away. It is about a 30 or so, maybe 25 CS lead in favor of Doggo over Abel, so nothing to be too worried about just yet, but when the later the game comes on, those big items coming in, that's when those CS numbers will make a difference.
That's the thing, like, Abel has cheaper items generally. Like, Manamune is so cheap that it's not too much of a concern if you're behind a bit, but, you know, it's still a significant amount. Considering Jhin will have gotten the plates, there's about a 500 gold lead between them, and he has now completed the Gale Force, so a little bit painful, but it's fine. It is Creme going the crit build, by the way, with the shield bow first. I kind of like that here because I think, you know, the poke might not always amount to much with Karma shields being able to soak it, and also, you know, WeiWei can obviously block quite a lot of damage. So I think having that sustained damage threat, especially because your composition kind of needs it, right? There's a lot of burst across the board, but having that sustained big crit autos will contribute quite a lot.
Contribute quite a bit as the game goes on. BLG now having to deal with the red buff, and you can see Breathe, what he's trying to do here is that, yes, he, like, why is he taking the red buff? He's just trying to protect his jungle. He recognizes that WeiWei is stealing on the other side. He's saying, look, can we at least deny a camp or two, make sure this Talon can't keep relevant, but there's not really a lot else you can do in that situation. The Talon is always going to have the smite and always going to be able to take away that camp. Isn't a fun 100% trade-off, though, as they do end up having to actually say that. We've actually got a second Rift Herald charge in that top side, so a lot of chip damage going down here, and Shanji is just doing so well into this matchup. Of course, he's been given the resources, but nevertheless, still putting down that pressure.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of plates across the board, right? So we've got a full plates top, got a few plates mid, going over to Creme there. Obviously, bot lane, they were only able to get those 4, so kind of seeing where all that gold lead for OMG, nearly 2,000 gold ahead now. And BLG, you know, you picked this Jhin Karma to sort of have that presence of bot lane. Yes, you did, by all means, have that advantage, but when you compare to what OMG's been able to get in the early game, they kind of feel pretty comfortable with where they are.
Very, very comfortable. The Gragas now has that Chem tank going not quite the Akali build that we expected, but definitely something to look at. And he's gonna feel like he can take this fight. Pops the Ghost out of Breathe, and yeah, he's totally fine to take that summoner. Again, very low cooldown on that particular summoner, but still big wins coming out for Shanji. He's just playing this matchup very, very smartly. Yeah,
and Graves always has to be careful because Gragas does quite a lot of burst, and if you let him get his cooldowns back up, he'll be a threat. Whereas Graves, like, he has the sustained damage and the sustain, so ideally you kind of just want to, like, trade short, back out, heal up, right? But the problem is Gragas can also do that. It's very hard to find too much headway, but Shanji keeps burning Breathe summoners and posing that threat towards him.
He'll always have that sustain. He'll always have ways of getting himself back into the ascendancy. So good work here from Shanji, and good wards from his Talon jungle as well. Aki making sure that this Gragas can play aggressive. One more proc of the Demolish, and that tower is dead. So at the big amount of gold available to the side of OMG, who are starting to eke ahead just a little bit, about 1,500 gold in favor of OMG as we start to hit the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, and so we're at this point where next dragon spawn in about a minute 15. OMG could take this fight. You know, they'll have the herald, the package synced up, I believe. So obviously they took the last one around the 8-minute mark for that first herald. So there's definitely potential to fight this one. Item spikes aren't the best though, right? They have tiers stacking across 3 members. They would obviously love to have a man immune on both Creme and Abel. But we'll see if they opt to go for it. We do need Creme to reset and pick up that package. It looks like he's going for that now. So they may well opt into this one. We'll see what BLG can do. This gold lead in favor of OMG, definitely going to favor them. And I think particularly when I look at Aki, right? Ghostblade and a Dirk. That is a lot of damage available to this Talon.
A lot of straight up burst. If Doggo gets caught out, and hell, even FoFo gets caught out, they will just be killed off. Crown of the Shadow Queen has been finished up. You can see full first items for pretty much everyone across the board. Now you have a flash. Going to be flashing away from that is FoFo. They flash straight in on top of him, but that's a 3-man, 4-man knockup, and they use the package as well to dissipate everybody. It will be a trade of supports for the moment. The Talon trying to do something on this backside, but FoFo is now dead. Shanji is just a brick wall running at the side of BLG, and they can just keep pushing forward. Massive win there for OMG. They pick up 4 kills and only lose 1.
And it's the solo laners, right? This is who we highlighted. That engage was just absolutely flawless. Shanji comes in to follow up. Big CC, and then Creme gets the package, and it felt like it hit every single person on the team. We're going to see the curtain call come down. Abel should be able to tank this. He won't die to this last shot, but...
He might. He actually might. He needs to be careful there. Yep, you have to back himself away. They used the smite a little early, but Rift Herald secured. Dragon's still yet to be taken. They can reset, get themselves back on the map. Big moment there for OMG, and they do not flinch.
Yeah, and I just love the engage, right? So we see initially they're fishing for the Viktor here from Cold. Then watch Shanji comes in on the flank, Chemtac for the movement speed, gets this big knock-up assisted by the Nautilus, and then the package goes across, splits the fight is the critical thing, right? Deals that burn damage, splits it, and we see FoFo gets chunked out. WeiWei ends walking on the package again. He's not going to go anywhere. Just beautiful execution. That's exactly how you should be fighting around the package.
They do lose that dragon, but while that's happening, they drop down the Rift Herald in mid. So more gold, more control here for the side of OMG. We got ourselves a Hex Rift with a Hex Drake. So you're pretty happy with this setup right now if you're OMG, as we do see them maybe looking to try and engage on top of this one here. We do have the Crescent Guard coming out here for WeiWei, but it's only going to delay him for so long. The Talon jumps in, but just a little too early. They actually go straight in onto WeiWei, but with the Karma, Shanji! You saw blood, you just couldn't get away from it, and sadly, that's going to be a kill back over to the side of BLG.
We said way too many nice things about him. It's honestly on us, right?
It's caster cursing, because we stacked it.
That was a little bit of a reach. Definitely was hunting after the kill, and BLG able to respond, and Bree just in the meantime, in the side lane, farming up. That's the thing with the Graves, you're so effective at farming waves, farming jungle camps, you can end up building up a pretty big CS lead if you're left unchecked.
That's the big thing that's going to come out of this. 20 CS lead, like you just mentioned, has got the executioners calling as well. As we wait to see now where the rest of the team want to go. Aki just running away. I don't think anyone's going to really try and catch him. As I say that, WeiWei is just hovering around. The Hex Gate's going to set them off, and they're going to keep hunting down to try and catch him out. But again, I feel this is a little bit optimistic for the side of BLG. They are in very much enemy territory, and I don't think they're going to be able to take away this kill. And they will take away this camp, though, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think they know, right? BLG's leaning up towards the top side. You see OMG are playing through mid and bot, so respectfully, Aki knows he can't stay to contest the camp and just gives up. It's fine, it's not a big deal, because he can apply the pressure here, right? They get this mid tower, they can then lean towards the bot side where they're already taking that tier 1. BLG do respond, but, you know, OMG are playing through 2 lanes, whereas BLG are only playing through 1. So OMG are just getting more and more here. 4,000 gold lead now.
This is a big amount of gold swing, and it looked like BLG were trying to find something back, but it ends up going completely wrong. And while that's happening, Chris throws out the Mantra Q to the backside, and that's going to be another tier 2. This is a massive win right now for OMG. They're just out macroing, outplaying the side of BLG and just completely smashing them down.
Yeah, and they have all this control in this area that they set up. They moved in. They had Creme pushing in the bot lane. They went aggressive, gained control of the area. And I think BLG, I'm going to say it, I don't think they were wrong to do what they did, because they managed to trade in a regard. It's just very hard for them to contest OMG right now, and you could see that quite clearly there. I think this is one of the big issues, right, that I talked about. BLG don't have engage. Their engage is we speed up and run at them. That is not reliable. That is not a good form of getting into a fight. And particularly when you have backline carries like Corki and Ezreal, notoriously safe with their ability to dodge away from things, I don't see how BLG are ever really going to threaten this backline.
This is a very scary position to be in as BLG, because like you mentioned, you're not going to be able to threaten this backline. How do you take a fight? How do you look to try and kill off this Corki, this Ezreal, who now both have their mana munes, almost both have them fully upgraded? This is a rapid fire. Cream's at 3 items, and we're not even at 21 minutes. This guy is accelerated to hell.
Yeah, he's monster fed. And coming up on this next dragon, right? Obviously, OMG want to secure that one. They don't want to give BLG 3, but we're going to have Manamune fully stacked for Corki already. Manamune is about to be fully stacked for Abel. These are big spikes, the ones they really want to play around. I'm a little bit concerned for BLG.
Little concern for Cold right now as he just get clipped off, and that means he's probably almost certainly going to go down just here. Yep, he's going to die. That's going to be Crisp taking the kill. Probably not the greatest person to have that on top of. It will be just before the dragon, or yes, the dragon spawning in a minute's time, or just over that, so it's not going to mean that much of a difference, but there is no flash now on Cold, and that's a huge summoner down for the safety of BLG.
Yeah, the big thing is they can reset, they can head down towards the dragon, and they can be there like a little bit earlier than Cold to try and set up, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be too impactful. They'll take the pick though, right? Cold just a bit overextended here, going for very deep vision without any support from his team. You can see on the minimap, Aki is on the complete other side of the map, so there's just no reason for you to be there.
Yeah, and straight away Creme's just like, great, you've delayed my recall. I have to go back now slightly later than I would have wanted to. What's happening? Shanji looks like he's going to be the focus here, but they catch out Crisp and WeiWei, but they're going to be using the Hex Gates, and now it's a little bit of a pinch. They're going to be able to engage on top of them. There's going to be the TP coming in. That's going to be FoFo joining in on top of this fight. As they wait to try and make this one work for them. Talon jumping on the backside. There's a great crescent guard to try and separate it all out. Cold is now dead again. Here finally comes the Corki. FoFo is here, but can he make it work? He gets 2 kills. He will fall, though, to Abel or Creme, as Creme tries to display peekaboo, using those rockets, using the poke he has available to him. Doggo goes down so low. Heals. Will he be able to get himself out alive? Yes, he will. But it is Zhao who dies instead. Ezreal traded back. And at the end of it all, it's a 2 for 3 in favor of BLG.
Breeze gets him with the coke can at the end, bounces off his head. Super close, and honestly, OMG kind of messing that one up. Breeze still strong. He's going to push in here. He just have Smite, though. It kind of feels like BLG need to slow play this one. It's going to be a long time till that jungle is up, so I think the dragon's just going to be gone. But with that lead that OMG had, there is no way they should have been losing that fight. But it's like, why were they taking it there, right? We just said, how hard is it to get on OMG's backline? BLG don't have engage. And what do OMG do? They run at them, right? They literally just charge in. Like, look at this positioning that comes in. They're like, oh, we're just all going to gate forwards. Abel just dashes in like, I'm going to be as close as possible. And the thing is, right, watch the minimap. Creme recalls, grabs the package, and only then TPs, right? Look at the fight. Look how low OMG are before he even arrives. Why was the game plan? I don't know. But BLG saw this was an opportunity to have a good fight, and they took it.
And Creme did see a great package to try and deny FoFo any real escape. He still had a flash, but very smart from him to not flash in the end there, as they do end up keep trading on top of this one here. Doggo just about keeping himself alive. Still had his flash available to him should he need it. And there you go, the coke can being able to use there, as WeiWei in a lot of trouble now. He has to use the Crescent Guard, but they're going to go straight on top of him, and Aki takes away that kill. Curtain Call comes in, but it will do nothing more, and now you don't have a jungler, and that Baron's looking mighty tasty.
Yeah, I think you can definitely play this one. You have Shanji, who's super tanky. He can just soak up the Baron damage. BLG are going to want to approach this one, though.
They take this quick.
They do. Look at Cold, though. He's looking for a Hex Splash over the wall.
He's going to get it as well, maybe on top of the Doggo. Yes, he does. He catches them, and that's going to be the jungler. Excuse me, the top laner was dead. Breathe will eventually fall down. They will trade back Abel's life, so it's an 80 carry for a top laner. Baron down to about 1,000 HP. It will be secured, and now you can turn and burn for this fight. They're trying to put down the Corki patches. Everyone's trying to get out. Cold will be the sacrificial lamb. 3 Barons. You got yourselves out. That's a win for OMG.
Yeah, over the total play of that Baron, it was a 2 for 2, and they got the Baron in hand, so I think OMG can be completely happy with that one. Definitely a little bit dicey, and Abel going a bit too deep there, but they end up getting rewarded. I love the position from Cold, looking for that Hex Flash over the wall to take out that Graves.
Really, really nicely done. And again, more and more advantages coming out here for the side of OMG. It is still very scrappy, but they're 5,000 gold ahead as we look at the replay. This was all cold, just basically saying, you don't know where I am, and I'm going to make you punish for it.
Yeah, and he finds this great dredge line onto the Graves, the ult to knock up, but Abel, Arcane shifts in, ends up on the gravity field, no way to get out again. Yeah, I mean, I think he just tried to put some damage out the back end, but I love the decision here. They could have tried to take the fight, but FoFo and Doggo are still healthy. It would have been risky. They all have dashes to get over the wall. Let's just dip. Cold can die. It's not that big of a deal.
I mean, that was almost a kill onto Crisp. He was one big one away from being killed off, and now that top lane tier 2, which was prepped earlier. Here's one that Shanji prepped earlier from the game as they now take down that one. So that's going to be the final tier 2 down. This is a big momentum shift already from OMG. They're saying, look, we don't want to let you scale. We don't want to let you get on top of this. We're going to see a little bit of engaged two-man belly bop into the explosive cast, but they can't really get any follow-up damage. As they say that, the Talon goes in. Crisp is burning down, but I don't think it's going to be enough to kill him. And that's, again, another small mistake from OMG. It's these little things that are just keeping the door open for BLG to get them back into this game.
They're just a bit overzealous, right? They could slow play this, and I feel like they'd be very convincingly ahead, but they keep trying to go too far forwards, engage. And honestly, that's where BLG flourish, right? I'm saying they don't have any engage, and that is a problem where they're trying to get onto OMG's backline. But if you just run into Viktor, into Karma, into Jhin, into Graves, they'll just kite back and deal damage. And that's what keeps happening in these situations. It's just over-aggression, and then there's moments like this, right, where BLG stop the fight, but like Shanji, no one can follow up on this, right? You're so deep, and look at Doggo and FoFo's positioning in the base gate, able to go in and out as they please.
Yeah, the exhaust was massive as well. Immediately exhaust onto Aki there to stop the Talon from doing the burst damage that we know he can do. I will say, it does mean that you do not have exhaust available for this next dragon fight. You should have flash from FoFo, and you should have pretty much all summoners apart from that flash from Shanji. So going to be a pretty even fight as we do have 3 items now for FoFo. We do have 2.5 coming out for the Jhin and, of course, for the Graves. I will say that Abel has picked up a Frozen Heart, so he's very, very tanky against this Jhin and, of course, this Graves. We'll see how he's able to do in these team fights. There's a lot riding on this next dragon. It could put BLG onto Soul Point. It could put 2 Hex Drakes in the back pocket of OMG. Is a lot for this one.
And this is the engage attempt, right? You just run forward. They might have found Abel.
They might have found Abel. He gets himself over the wall. He will get curtain called. They have used a lot there now. So you do not have the Chaos Storm, you do not have the Crescent Guard, and you do not have the curtain call, the TP flank coming in. Cole just wants to keep everybody interested. He'll happily give his life as Talon goes straight in onto the backside. They're going to try and burst down FoFo because they know he has nowhere else to go. Now Crisp has to flash away. There's the explosive cast to bring back Breathe into the fight, into the fray. But look at this backside access you now have for WeiWei. It's just not enough though. And now Breathe will have to back himself up all the way into his own jungle. He's going to try and run away, but that's a Talon. Parkour, hardcore, and they're going to be able to take him down. Keep chasing him, and you can see already BLG, they're trying to see if their jungler can run in and try and maybe get a steal.
Yeah, I think you just reset, honestly. I think it's too risky. You're so low on HP. Abel's position has been a bit suspect this game. He's been a bit over-aggressive, but the rest of the team is there to clean up, and they will secure the second dragon. Still a long way away from Soul, but honestly, the stats on this dragon for a Corki and Ezreal, 12% attack speed and 12 ability haste off the 2 that they'll have, that is actually pretty substantial, right? Both of them benefit massively from those stats, so a lot of power being added on here. We're going to replay off the fight. So, you know, they try for the initiation and they're not really able to find it. Cold is so aggressive, but he wants them to stay in the fight. They've committed. They've done the TP. He doesn't care about his KDA. It's pretty rough this game anyway. And then it gets to the point where I think Abel's position is just a bit over aggressive here. Ends up going too far forwards in a couple of seconds. And this is where things end up backfiring. Doggo finds an opportunity. It was that arcane shift that cost him. It still ends up going in favor of OMG, but like for the gold lead they have, this is messy. This is very messy and a little bit suspect, but they're 8,000 gold up. Is that a 58 or a 56?
I think it's a 56. I'm pretty sure it's a 56.
Right, they're a lot of gold up. 8,000 gold up, and these fights are still chaotic, still a little bit messy. Okay, it's cleared up now. It was a little bit blurry for a second. Yeah, 56. So 8,000 gold up, still very messy. That's my point. Yeah, let's go.
Well, yes, it is very messy, and I completely agree with you on that, but it is still going in the favor of OMG. That gold lead was 3,000, then it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's slowly getting bigger and better for the side of OMG. They're the ones being played. And yes, these team fights haven't been clean, but they're getting what they want out of them. They're getting the dragons, the barons, the objectives where they need to go. It is 20 seconds till that baron spawns. You will have flash available for Shanji. Look what's missing now. No summoners on Doggo. Crisp will just have his exhaust back. FoFo will be the only one on his team with flash available. So if you're Shanji, you're just going for the Jhin.
We've seen, so because there wasn't a package used at the last dragon, it's a little bit desynced. Creme has picked one up for the baron. They have to make a baron play off this, right? I'm critical of using packages not for objectives, but if they get the baron off this, it's worth. But they have to be proactive, right? They have to seek a play within the next 40, 30 seconds to make use of this package. They're going to push up mid. The BLG is literally just wait it out, right? If you manage to survive until the package times out, then you have won. But
Doggo,
oh, no.
He has no flash. He uses
don't wanna go
skill
there.
force, and he is dead. Karma as well. Crisp has fallen. Package was used around the Baron pit. Was it for an actual objective? No, but it does not matter. Crescent Guard comes out. They've still got the Valkyrie, the Chaos Storm to try and maybe do a little bit of distortion. But that is exactly what you want to be seeing with the package, Ox. You said you wanted to see them make a play with it, and they are going to get it, and they're going to get the Baron.
That's the thing. They're so far ahead. They can just force fights, right? The Baron is up and available, so they go for the aggressive pick. And Doggo, split from the team, shouldn't have been there. They're able to translate it into that Baron. Package gets value. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm not going to flip out yet. But yeah, they take the opportunity, and now this gold lead...
waiting, like, just go on, take it before a dragon or after a dragon, do it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's synced with an objective. I think I get really frustrated when neither Baron or dragon is up and they end up taking it. But either way, Aki 8-0 is chasing down FoFo. He does a lot of damage.
Yes, he does. He is very, very powerful right now. But while they're resetting, you got to remember, this is Baroned up minions that are going to be crashing into that mid side. And you have an Ezreal alongside a Corki. You can do so much to these turrets. It is a Divine Sunderer on the Ezreal as well. So I actually quite like this build. It gives him a little bit of extra damage oomph and obviously a little bit of extra sustain if the fights go on long. But right now, it is just this. He can just tank it up because they have Shanji on this tank Gragas, who's just not going to take damage.
Yeah, and BLG really struggling right now. The thing is, a lot of the options, right? You look at Viktor, Ionian Boots, Zhonya's, Crown of the Shattered Queen, very defensive. Look at the Xin Zhao's items. He's got 2 versus the Talon's 4. They just don't have the money.
They just don't have any armor either as well, so you're looking at the damage that can come out. There's the Crescent Guard to try and keep this Xin Zhao alive, but look, already Crisp is basically out of this fight. The Talon goes in, the Talon goes down. The exhaust was perfect there from Chris to keep him dead, but there's not really a lot else you can do. Cole's going to try and run away, maybe just keep himself alive as we do see the final shot come in. You've been great hitting those, Doggo, but they're just not enough. You've got nothing left in your base.
They will do enough to force them away.
Oh, here we go.
And now they're looking. They should find Creme here.
They should be able to find him. They need to be very careful, though, because he's got a lot of damage. There's the heal coming out, though, from Doggo. And while that's been happening, Breathe got caught on the wrong side of the rift. And now maybe they can keep pushing for this win. But FoFo, very large health bar. A lot of damage on him as well. The explosive cast comes out, but it doesn't really separate them out. Abel goes in. He's trying to see if he can go 1v3, and he's going to be able to take out one. He's going to get stunned up just a little bit. He's trying to take out Chris. 2 kills there for Abel. And he does end up trading up equally and gets himself and his team back onto that Nexus.
I mean, Abel's positioning has been very aggressive, I'll say that much, but he is able to deliver. FoFo is trying to stop Shanji, but Creme is coming. Creme is healthy, and it looks like this might just be game over.
This is almost certainly going to be game over. There is the chaos. My God, that damage. OMG will win this game. They will continue their undefeated streak, and they are almost there to 4-0, 8-0. We'll see how they do in game 2, but that was a great statement there from OMG.
Absolutely. They just accrued such a big lead. I feel like their sense of how to play the map right, playing through 2 lanes and getting coverage over there, sacrificing 1 tower to get a massive advantage. They played around objectives well. The team fight was good. I will say my one criticism is sometimes forcing fights they didn't need to, which ended up backfiring a little bit. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they still came out really far ahead, and they looked good. Honestly, BLG looked rough in comparison.
Yes, I think BLG, I think the bigger takeaway, I think, yes, this is still a very young roster. Great win for OMG. BLG looked lost, in my opinion. Like, they didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. It looked like they didn't really know where to bring their composition. Yeah, they won the bot lane, but then when they were just kind of given it, they were like, oh, how do we, wait, we were just given this. We haven't gained any other advantages. We're not equal in top side. We're not equal in mid lane. The jungle's kind of getting away from us. How do we transition from this? And sadly for them, it's a little bit back to the drawing board, because this is not what we expect to see from a team that, like we said, should be on paper contesting for top 4.
They didn't really do anything with the early prior, right? And it came to the point where Talon was just running around doing what he wanted. It actually took a while before the Talon had the freedom to do so. But even then, he just built up such a big lead. Like, WeiWei had 2 items, barely doing anything, barely relevant, right? Only just able to chase people down. But it's just, again, another issue is their composition, right? When they fell behind, it really became OMG had to like run into them for them to have good team fights, because they just didn't pose threat to Creme and Abel if they positioned safely. Now, Abel definitely chose not to position safely, but
he was very aggressive, and you know what? We appreciate our aggressive ADCs.
That's
in
some
the LPL.
LPL AD carry gameplay. Yeah,
you're new here. You may not have realized we appreciate the aggressive AD carries.
It's
but
limit testing, right?
It is limit testing, but at the same time, like it was what they needed to do, because it was Creme who was the safe quote unquote AD carry of this game that was sitting back throwing out those rockets, and that's exactly what they needed him to do.
And I think it's so hard when. Because the problem is, right, when you're playing for big objectives, which is how most teams are playing at the moment, if Corki has a package, it's going to make it so hard to play for, right? Because it means if you try and engage, he just packages away and burns you. If he wants to engage with Shanji, we saw what happened at the Herald fight, right?
Yep.
So the response is you try and force fights outside of the package timer, right? But you can't do that when you have no engage. There was really no way to threaten, to initiate, and as a result, it just felt like they were kind of waiting until OMG ran at them and hoping for the best.
Yeah, they really were. Well, we'll see if BLG can come back with a little bit more fight, a little bit more concept and idea in the game too. But for now, we're going to send it to a quick break. When we return, getting to pick and bans will be happening very, very shortly.